Figure it out.
Hello, this is Adam Koralik from Figured Out Productions. The following video is a video of some kind, and I hope you enjoy it.
Hey guys, it's Adam here, and we're doing a bit of a time travel thing today. We're going back to my channel like 8 years ago when I still did videos like this. Basically what's happening here today is that we're going to be trying to clean up and hopefully restore this GameCube controller. Specifically, the problem that's going on with this one is the left thumbstick. I was playing it today, I was just enjoying some GameCube, and I noticed that the left thumbstick wasn't quite working the right way, and when I would put the controller down, you know, the characters would just move on their own, or the camera would move on its own. So I'll give you an example of what I'm talking about. If you boot up the GameCube, you would get the dashboard, right? And the cube part would just move automatically. So I'm like, okay, that's an issue with the left thumbstick. It's getting false commands. So I'm hoping it's just because it feels a little sticky, so I'm kind of hoping that's all it is, where it's just something I need to clean. But I figured since I'm going to have to tear it down for that anyway, I might as well clean all the plastic parts, and I'll show you guys how to do that. And hopefully, if you're out there and you have a GameCube controller that just is not quite right, maybe hopefully this process will fix it. Now, if there's something more serious, you know, I'm not sure I can help you with that, because really I'm banking entirely on this thing just being dirty, and that's all the problem is. But if it needs like new parts, unfortunately that's a different animal altogether. But whatever, let's go ahead and begin. So in order to do this, we have to take the controller apart. Now on the back it has 6 screws. Unfortunately, Nintendo loves to do proprietary stuff. So these 6 screws are not Phillips head, they're not flathead, they're Nintendo's own design. I think they designed them anyway. They're called tri-wings. Now in order to do that, you have to get this special screwdriver. You can get this on eBay, I think probably Amazon as well. It's just a couple dollars. It's not really expensive, just kind of annoying, but you know, it's a screwdriver. Once you have it, you kind of have it forever. But yeah, so once you want to open it at that point, there's 6 screws. There's 2 right here on the handles, 2 right there, like I guess you would call that in the center, and then there's 2 up there. Now that your screws are out, the controller is going to start coming apart, obviously. So at this point, we're going to complete that process by taking off the lid here. So there might be pieces that spill out, so make sure you kind of have a special area for this. But what you're going to do is take out anything plastic. So you got the little purple trigger button there, as well as the front faceplate. Take all that stuff to the side. You also have a lot of the action buttons, take those off, as well as these little pads. Make sure you get those, D-pad, all that sort of stuff, and you know, you can continue to tear down from that point. So what we're going to do is, again, make sure that's all out of the way, then take the board here and just kind of lift that out, so then we're back down to here. And from there, it looks like we have a couple of very tiny little screws that we have to get out of there, and that looks like a little Phillips head is going to be necessary for that. So I'm guessing it looks like there's 2 here and there's 2 there, so I'm going to go ahead and remove those. Okay, so now that I have those screws out of there, I'm just going to take these 2 black pieces off. Well, I mean, they might be a different color depending on what controller you have, but they come off rather easily. And then underneath them you have the triggers. So the easiest way to do this is just to kind of push down like you actually were playing it, and then just kind of lift it out like that. It'll probably detach a little bit, but that's no big deal. Don't worry about it. And the same, of course, goes for this one as well. Just push it out like that. And then you're down to just the back piece. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to take all these plastic and these little rubber pieces as well. We're going to take them over to a sink, and we're going to, you know, clean them up with some soap and some water and a brush and everything. Just get a lot of the dirt and grime out of there. Just clean it up, you know, why not, while we're in there. But you can see, like, there's a lot of just nastiness that starts to form around the edges. That's basically just, I mean, it's gross, but that's your skin. It's getting inside the controller and it's making it dirty. So it's good to clean that out every once in a while. I mean, on here you can also see it. You see this like ring right there that's forming around the start button? And that's, again, that's just your skin and finger oils is just getting on the controller. So while that has no functional purpose, it just makes it more aesthetically pleasing. Okay, I've went ahead and washed everything. As you can see, it's looking a lot better, I think. Less grimy. So what I'm going to do at this point is just lay these all out a little bit nicer and let them all air dry. A lot of people are always like, why do you do that? Why don't you just like wipe them down with a towel? Certainly you could do that. I just find that air drying is a lot more thorough. It takes more time, of course, but you don't want moisture inside the controller or inside a console when you clean it. So I don't know about you, but I'm not always in like a massive rush to get back to the game. It's you know, there's some time, you know. So anyway, that's just me. But yes, you could use like a towel or compressed air or anything like that if you really want to expedite the process. But in my case, I'm just going to let it sit to the side and air dry. Okay, now it's time to take a look at the board and hopefully what our actual problem is here. Now, be aware that the C trigger is like attached with a cabling, basically. That's all that's really holding it there. So if you wanted to detach that, I guess you could. I have no reason to, so I'm not going to. Where my problem is right here. So I can see there's a lot of dirt and grime underneath the thumb part, although that wouldn't really have much to do with operation. So my issue is going to be in here somewhere. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take Windex, or as it's known in certain countries, Window Lean, and I'm going to spray some onto a Q-tip, just like this. Sorry. Yeah, and then get it like that. And then what I'm going to do is a spot clean kind of around both points and just kind of clean these up and just get as much dirt and grime out of it. You see there's some dirt there. There's going to be some dirt there. I'm going to do just kind of the cosmetic stuff first, and then we'll try and tinker underneath. All right, so I've officially removed the grime and stuff that was here. It looked like some soda or something like that. I don't know. I mean, this controller is obviously very old, and it goes all the way back to, I think, when I had it when I was in high school, so it's entirely possible that it's something I did, much younger version of me. Anyway, so I cleaned that all out. Now, cosmetically, yes, that's nice, but I don't know how much that's going to have an effect on the performance. What I'm going to do, the only thing I can think of, because taking this apart is not really something I have the skill set for, so what I'm going to do here is I'm going to basically just try to clean underneath there and see if I catch any additional grime. You probably aren't seeing it on camera, but I am seeing some in there. So I'm kind of hoping that by removing it, that solves my problem. We'll see. We'll see. Wish me luck. Now that the plastic is all dry, it's time to put the controller back together. So the easiest place to start, I think, is you start with the back piece here, and we're going to put the triggers into place. Now, fortunately, this is relatively easy because the triggers are labeled. So this one's got an R on it, so it's obviously for the right. Now, in the off chance that your piece fell apart here, it's very simple. There's just a spring that goes into one end there, the other end here, and this little metal clip thing just kind of has to fit over this part, over these like teeth. And by the end, you're going to want a piece where the label, the R or the L, is on the same side as these two little prongs, and that'll get your piece back together. So push it in at that point, and then kind of just fit it back in to the spot here, which should go in relatively easily if you can kind of get over the piece. There you go. And you can double check it. Yep, it's certainly very clingy, or springy, sorry. And then do the same thing on the other side. Push it back in here, fit it into the space, and set it down like that. Then you go ahead and get the other two remaining pieces and just kind of fit them over where they are appropriate. There's no way really to screw this up, to be honest with you, other than not showing it on camera there for a split second. But yeah, I mean, basically what I'm trying to say is everything can only fit in one way. It's just a matter of kind of tinkering until you get to that point. But yeah, once you have it, it'll be just like this. And then if you'll recall, there are 4 black screws, just like this, tiny little Phillips head screws. 2 go in right there, and the other 2 go in there. Now that this part's complete, it's time to put the board back into place. Now, if you'll recall, the C joystick is connected basically just by a little ribbon there, so you got to be a little bit careful with this, but you're going to just kind of plop it back into place. And remember, up here at the top, there is the cabling is a little bit looped. That has to sit underneath. That way you just don't, get it in the way. And then the primary thread will just kind of come through where logically it should. And that's really all there is to that. You just kind of have to kind of finagle it and set it back in place, but yeah, it should go in relatively simple as it just did. Now, this is completely optional. In my case, I'm not going to really do this because there's no point, but if for some reason your controller is having contact issues with certain buttons, it's possible that these contact points are just dirty. If that's the case, take a Q-tip, some Windex like we showed you before, or I showed you before, and just kind of clean around the points like that and just see if any dirt comes off. If it does, hey, you might have a more solid connection now. Personally, I already know that mine's not going to have that problem, but yeah, that part's done. So we'll set it off to the side. Now we're going to focus entirely on the front part. Now we're going to use gravity to our advantage to get this done. We're going to take the individual plastic buttons and just kind of sit them into place. Now, fortunately, Nintendo made this easy because you really can't screw this up. It's not like it's possible for your A button to be in the wrong place or anything like that. They can really, for the most part, only sit in there one way. So you just kind of plop them in and yeah, you'll be good to go. So there's your B button, A button's good to go. As long as all you have to do is kind of, spin them around until you get to the point where they're fitted. Then you'll have the start button. I think that one could actually go in either way, but that makes no difference. The only one of these that's kind of, I'm not going to say complicated, but a little bit more tricky is the Z button. It has a spring on it, sort of, whatever, this little clip type of thing. It has to sit kind of above this one point and then under this other point, and then it has to fit in this hole like all at the same time so that it gets a solid connection. But as you can see, really not very tricky there. And then we set the D-pad in there. And you should also take these little the rubber connector things and just kind of fit them into place as well. So this one goes like this. There's usually like a little pinhole type of thing that helps match them up. Not a big deal. Right there. And then finally this one, which is the smallest one, but there you go. In the end, that's what it should look like. And then you're going to take this and kind of just, you know, sit it together. I would say keep this the front part down when you do this and kind of hold it by the board there, and then just kind of sit it into place, and it should just kind of all fall together. Now it's not gonna be perfect right away. Like the button clickiness may not be amazing because again it's not screwed together. But if we hold a lot of pressure on it, you can see all the buttons working just fine. Double check everything. Everything seems to be moving just fine. So at this point, essentially we're done. So we're going to take the screws that we took out before, the 6 tri-wing screws, and put all 6 of them back into place. Our controller is now officially back together and it is looking much better. Still don't know if this feels better. This feels like it's probably working, but I guess we'll see. It does feel different. It was a lot stickier before, so hopefully it is actually running now. So the next thing we're going to do, this is completely optional. In fact, a lot of people may not even like this idea. I'm going to bring it a little bit, you know, a nicer shine to it. In order to do that, I'm going to take some Pledge. This is called Pronto in some countries. It's just kind of an all-purpose, like, you know, cleaner. It makes it smell nice. It gives a nice shine. So we're going to spray some on a paper towel. I recommend a paper towel over, say, like a napkin, just because the paper fibers are stronger. And then you can just kind of rub it down on some of the plastic, and it'll bring out more of a lustery shine to it. And I say the reason some people may not like it is just because it is a controller, so ultimately your hands will be touching it a lot and they may not like the greasiness of it. Now I assure you the greasiness won't last. That will go away. But for at least for a time it'll look a lot nicer, and the shine will last longer than the greasiness, if that makes any sense. So yeah, that's a very basic job there, but I'll probably go back and do it a little bit better, but you get the idea. Alright, I have let the controller kind of sit there and dry for about 10-15 minutes. And it looks, as you can see, a lot shinier, a lot nicer. I think it looks very good. Like I said before, the thumbstick feels repaired. It feels better. Hopefully that is actually true and we didn't just waste our time here, but I think now is the time, my friends. Let's go ahead and find out. Okay, alright. It's not automatically doing anything stupid. Alright! Yay! Alright, it worked. Cool. Well, there you go. Hopefully that helps you guys. All the buttons seem to still work. There you go. I've got my Sonic Adventure save, Metal Gear Solid. I'm not going to erase anything, obviously, but yeah, cool. It all is working just right. Well, there you go, guys. Hopefully that helps you if you have a GameCube controller that just needs some basic maintenance or you just need to clean it. Thank you very much, everybody, for watching. If you could please like, comment, subscribe. I appreciate that. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you all later.